Thank you very much indeed. Good afternoon, everybody. Obviously, our thoughts are with those people who are killed or injured. But the most important message that I want to get across is, firstly, avoid the area. As I speak, both south and northbound are closed of the Sydney Harbour Bridge. There are diversions in place. There's significant traffic congestion in the area. The other thing is this may be protracted. Even if the lanes reopen, there'll be significant traffic to clear for the afternoon peak. Advice for people, if you're travelling into city, particularly those people who are considering travelling obviously by road to the concert tonight, to Moore Park, please think about alternative routes because the roads may well be either closed or still congested. There are plenty of public transport options. Buses are terminating at North Sydney at the moment, and therefore what we're seeing is those trains can take you over the Harbour Bridge and vice versa. If you're coming out of the city and you can't drive over the Harbour Bridge, you can take the train or our brand new metro to Victoria Cross, which is just up the street from North Sydney. Watch out, transportnsw.info for the latest advice. Also livetraffic.com will give you up-to-date information, and we're working very closely. And I would just like to thank all the emergency services, obviously, for their quick response and my teams involved. I just think this shows the collaboration we have between all our emergency services when these incidents occur. It is a rare occurrence on our bridge, but we appreciate the support we've had from all those involved. Thank you very much indeed.
Hi everyone. This incident did attract a significant response from New South Wales Ambulance. We had a total of 9 resources attached to this incident, which included our care flight helicopter with a medical team on board. There were a total of 4 patients that were assessed at scene. Unfortunately, as my police counterpart did say, there were 2 that were assessed as deceased and could not be revived. There are another 2 patients, all adults, that were transported to Royal North Shore Hospital in a stable condition with minor injuries. As said by the transport representative, I do want to thank all the emergency response teams that came and assisted us, and also the members of the public that aided. I'll hand over to my fire rescue counterpart. Thank you.
Thanks. Superintendent Adam Dewberry, DEW, BERRY. Our firefighters responded at the same time as other emergency services. Now, when our firefighters arrived on scene, the paramedics were treating casualties. 2 of those casualties were trapped in the vehicle. They asked for what we call a rapid extrication. That's where time is critical. So our firefighters, using the hydraulic tools that they carry on the fire truck, started to cut and pull apart the car. So they removed both doors and a B-pillar. They were assisted by police rescue. They then moved on to start providing fire protection, cleaning up the hazardous materials spills. There's significant wreckage all over the road from this multi-vehicle collision to get this, while we rendered that site safe.
Can I just clarify on the patients just with New South Wales Ambulance?
Yeah, absolutely.
Please? Sorry, I don't know if it's okay. So there were 4 patients, does that include the 2 that passed away?
That's correct, yes.
And the 2 that were taken to hospital, how were they taken to hospital? What condition were they in? And were they
Yep. There was 1 male and 1 female, both adults. They were both taken to Royal North Shore Hospital. They had minor injuries and are in a stable condition.
Were they taken in the care flight helicopter?
No, they were taken by ambulance via road.
We've heard reports that one of those injured was pregnant with a newborn.
Yeah, that's correct. But she was stable and only had minor injuries, so the hospital will continue assessment and ensure that she gets any treatment she requires.
And can I just ask, in terms of, I know you said investigations are ongoing in terms of what's caused the crash. We have seen reports that a car was overtaking a bus. Can you provide any clarity on that?
No, the investigation is ongoing at the moment, but the whole bridge is covered by cameras which are recording and will be presented from the coroners. It appears that initial inquiries indicate the cause of the collision has come from one vehicle that was travelling in the northbound lanes, has veered across into the oncoming traffic in the southbound lanes, okay, resulting in a collision, the initial collision, and then a number of other collisions at the time.
And was that a Mercedes? That car that veered onto the other
It's still being determined at this time, the make and model of those cars. And as I said earlier, we're yet to determine or notify the next of kin, so we're mindful of identifying any vehicles involved at this stage.
Were the two men that died, I know you can't identify them, but were they both driving or were they passengers in the car?
I believe they were both drivers of those vehicles.
Do you know which, in terms of the overtaking vehicle, the condition of that driver?
No, I don't believe that was the overtaking vehicle was a factor involved in this collision at this stage. It appears that initial inquiries from the footage that we have obtained appears it's simply occurred because the driver of that vehicle that was travelling in the northbound lanes has veered across for some unknown reason, and that will form part of the investigation, has veered off into the southbound lanes and causing the collision with oncoming traffic.
So you're basically the whole lead up to this crash and the crash itself?
That's correct, yeah. There's multiple cameras on the Sydney Harbour Bridge and around the lead up to, and we'll obtain the footage of all those cameras from the Transport Management Centre and present that to the coroner.
Can you ever just tell us how far some of the wreckage is spread around? Is it
Look, I couldn't tell you at this stage. Yeah, I'd say it is a significant area, but I couldn't confirm the wide space.
Could you also talk a bit about afterwards, after the crash took place? I believe there was an incident with a motorcycle.
That's correct. Whilst many drivers were waiting patiently, and I thank the public for their patience in complying with the numerous police on scene, assisting with the extrication of those victims. All of the people waiting patiently, and we took to get those drivers off and out of the traffic as quickly as possible. During that time, a gentleman who was riding a motorcycle entered the crime scene in an attempt to go past and get across the bridge. That gentleman drove towards police, who stood in front of him and were able to stop that gentleman. He was taken off the motorcycle by an officer attached to the Traffic and Highway Patrol Command. The Highway Patrol officer sustained a minor bruising to his leg and some grazes on his hand, and the rider of that motorcycle was treated by ambulance at the scene as well. That gentleman is currently behind me in Day Street Police Station as we speak. Initial inquiries indicate that the motorcycle he was riding is unregistered and that his licence was suspended. So in the coming hours, that gentleman who's currently assisting with inquiries, he'll be charged with a number of serious traffic offences.
For what reason was his licence suspended?
I'm unaware at this stage, but there's a possibility for excessive demerit points.
Have any other arrests been made?
No arrests have been made. It's just the other drivers involved have gone to hospital for mandatory testing.
I'm sure it's a bit of how long will it take to finish the investigation?
The crash investigation team from New South Wales Police arrived on scene very quickly. They've now finished their investigation. We are now working to remove the vehicles from the bridge as quickly as possible, and we will have that bridge open as quickly as possible for motorists to return home. But we'll work closely with the TMC and Howard from Transport and getting that bridge open.
It'll be a matter of like hours or by this evening? Or...
It will be very shortly. I'm led to believe by police on the scene that we're working to get that done as quickly as possible. But by the evening peak, we'll have the bridge open, I envisage.
And the car that veered onto the wrong side of the road,
Yes.
was that driver one of the men that's passed away?
That's correct, yes.
And Howard, can I just ask you a few questions as well? Do you know how significant the delays have been?
Well, we've already seen queues of up to 12 kilometres long, going all the way back east of Military Road, back to Rozelle, and also extensive delays on the Ringa Freeway. This is all part of the diversionary plan, and of course for heavy vehicles who cannot use the tunnel, there is a significant diversion from this area, particularly heading north and south, to get across to the other side of Sydney. So we're examining those, but I think we have seen some really good collaboration here. We're working with the police, we want to support them in their crime investigations, but I'm hoping very soon. But even if we open the Harbour Bridge, I'd warn every single motorist it will take several hours to clear the backlog of traffic, and therefore with this will extend into the evening peak and maybe beyond. And advice is, if you've got somewhere to go in Sydney, I recommend that you use the rail network over the Harbour Bridge. That's either metro or below for Sydney trains as well. That is really important advice to people who've got to travel tonight.
In terms of the flow-on effect for traffic in the city, is there a worse place for a crash than the Harbour Bridge?
There are obviously critical for our beautiful city with a huge waterway in between two. There aren't many options when it comes to crossing by road, and restrictions when it comes to the tunnels. So we are understanding that issue. We have worked, as soon as we were aware of the incident, diversions were put in place. My teams were going out making sure that we gave people alternatives. The advice though is, if you do not need to travel this afternoon and get out in your car or even delivery vehicle, do not do it. One less motorist on the road will help us move those people, which includes ambulances on other shouts getting about their business, my fiery colleagues as well, ensuring they get to destinations. So advice is, avoid the area, do not drive. If at all possible, use public transport.
Just briefly, Acting Superintendent, obviously fatalities on the road are always tragic. Something like this happening with so many witnesses as well, is it just kind of hard to explain how tragic this whole situation is?
It is very sad for all those people involved. There'll be numerous members of certain families affected by this, and we'll be working throughout the night with the ongoing investigation to inform the family members of those sadly people who passed away. We'll be making inquiries to urgently notify those. And not just though, but the people who are witnesses in the scene will obviously experience some trauma. And there's always support services out there available for you to contact.
And of course, a timely reminder to stay safe on the road as well.
That's correct. You never know what may occur as you're driving home, so I urge all the motorists driving home, reinforce the message of Howard that please, if you can avoid driving this afternoon across the bridge, please make use of public transport if you can. And please be calm, take your time and get home safely. Thank you.
Just some breaking news, as you always love to report. I've just been given indication that the Harbour Bridge has reopened, but advice again is there will be significant delay. Just because you see that information out there for motorists, there will be extensive delays, so please avoid the area, and we'll do all we can to make the evening trip as smooth as possible. Thank you.
Can I just confirm all lanes on the Harbour Bridge are now open?
2 lanes of the Harbour Bridge are now open in both directions. We will work with the police pretty quickly, with great collaboration with my colleagues, to ensure that we try and do as much as possible.